Chris from LeadGen, and in this video we will talk about creating forms in the LeadGen form builder. I'm now logged into this dashboard of LeadGen and would like to show you how you can start with creating a basic form that you can share on your website or embed on any of your landing pages that you're using so that you can capture data from your users. Here in LeadGen, we have the menu on the left, and you simply go to the forms section to start. If you already had forms built, you would see them here listed on this panel. But since we haven't done that yet, you simply click on Add New Form. So in the first step, you'll give your form a title right here on top. In this case, I name it Lead Generation Form Website. Here you see the header menu of LeadGen forms with the phases build, design, and share. And these are generally the three stages that you will work through in order to get a complete LeadGen form built. And right now we will just look at the building stage where you will actually define the questions, the order, the choices, whatever you'd like to ask the users. And then in the later stages, you would design the form and you would then at share be able to get the right code, the snippet that you can embed into your website so that you can actually make it live. But right now we just focus on how to build the form. Now here you see the main form builder, and in LeadGen we work with either steps or questions that are located below each other. And what I mean by this is you can either build a form which has questions just like one by one after each other, let's say question 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, or you have different steps. That would be a multi-step form. And if you want to work with, let's say, a traditional form format or style with, let's say, question 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 just below each other, you would work with one step. If you would have a multi-step form, you would work with multiple steps. This is the logic that we use in this tool, and that makes it simple to understand how the form will look on the website when it is live. So in this case, we'll just have a very basic form with just one step, and within that step, different questions. First question here, I would like to ask the user what the name is, the first name. And for this purpose, we have already defined certain question types that are likely to be asked on websites in this question type field. So I could simply select here first name, and then I'll get this automatically here loaded into my screen, into this tool. So I can straight away have the right question available. Right, and then question, as I said, you will define what actually the question is that you'd like to ask the user. Very simple here, what's your first name? So that's the question you define. Description, so you can also define a description text that would appear right next to this question. For example, if you'd like to specify a little bit further what you'd like to ask. In this case, it's very straightforward. We're just asking for the first name, so you can leave the description blank. The next variable here is called field name, which basically is used for integrations of LeadGen to other tools, but also that is more advanced. It's not needed for you to simply start with creating basic forms. So then we have the placeholder text, which is a little bit more interesting and relevant here, which is the text that appears on the field where users can fill in their information. So you can simply specify, please enter your name, something like that. So this appears right where the user should fill in his answer. So, and then now we have the first question defined. What happens now is we want to not have a multi-step form. We want to have just a very basic form. So you simply go with your mouse here on this button, add new element, the orange button, and add a new question. So then the second question naturally would be, what is your last name? Simply type that in here. What's your last name? No explanation is needed here, and no placeholder text. And then in questions, you also find this element here, required or non-required. And this basically allows you to make this question mandatory for users to fill it in. So that would be required, it's mandatory, or you can turn it off so that users can skip these questions without filling anything in. I'll keep it on because we need the name. Otherwise, we don't capture the name of the user. All right, then next question, the same thing again. You click on the orange button, add a new question, And here we would then continue with, for example, email address. We also have that predefined. So you would not simply need to type in what's your email address. You can simply click this and then it will show you this. You can customize it a little bit as per your needs. And then you'll have the question in LeadGen as well. What's your email address? This also is mandatory. I'll keep that on and I keep the placeholder text empty. Next question, same thing again. Click here, add a new question element. And now let's ask for the phone number. Okay, phone number, and the same thing here, no placeholder text. I would make this a non-required field because not everyone might be willing to give the phone number on the website. So this could already be a form that is ready to be used, but I'd like to customize it a little bit more and want to add one more question field here. Add new element, question. And I'd like to add a paragraph field, which allows the user to type in an actual text or a message. So imagine someone wants to apply on your website, wants to inquire, but he can only leave the details. What might be even more interesting is if he can actually leave a message and type some custom text. And this is also supported here by LeadGen. It's just a different question type, which is here. You can either choose short text or paragraph text. Paragraph text would allow the user to type in a whole paragraph, whereas the short text would just be a simple line for a simple one-line answer. So, and in this case, paragraph text makes the most sense. Non-required, and I keep this the same, and I'll just add a question and I'll just name it your message. So this form with just 5 questions can already be used and could be implemented on your website. So, and if I now click on create, it will save this. And if you then click on preview, the preview button here, you will then see how your form would look on the website. So you would have this snippet of the form that can be directly embedded on your web pages. It looks a bit basic right now because we haven't customized it yet, but obviously that's clear. We've just built this in just a very few minutes. So in order to customize the form, you can do loads of things. You could remove this icon here for required. You could style it differently, assign different fonts, different colors, all of that. But here, just to show you how it would work, the user would click into the field and then just fill in this form. And this would allow you to capture the user information. Leave the message blank because we haven't marked it as a required field. And then if I hit submit, you see it works. So the form itself works. That's the first step. Now, this is just a very basic overview of how you could start with LeadGen forms and how to use the form builder, what question types to choose, how to customize forms in terms of the text, what you're going to ask, how you make it required, non-required. So this is the basics, how you can start with LeadGen. And then in the coming videos, we'll talk about customizing forms and all the advanced features. I'll see you in the next videos.